Welcome back after a brief hiatus to the Understable Minds studio for episode 24 of Understable Minds. This is the Kobe episode. This is the Dynamic Discs Open recap episode. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a fantastic episode. Probably, I'll say easily in the top 25 episodes we've ever done of this show.
Oh, it's hands down.
I guarantee this will be in the upper echelon. My name's Anthony. His name's Eric.
What up?
For the people listening to just the audio version, he's right next to me.
Hey, how's it going?
Right next to him is AJ Risley.
Yeah, I can't touch you.
Nah, he's too far away. I could touch Eric, but I'd rather not.
Oh, hey.
Behind the window is Danny Lindahl. Danny's going to be helping us out with all of the video, all of the audio, all of the everything on that side of the cameras.
Over there.
Eric.
And it's Anthony's birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
This is
Happy
true.
birthday, Anthony.
Thank you very much. This is my flower on the table for the video people. Audio people, you're just missing out. You don't get to see that Eric is right next to me. You don't get to see my flower. You didn't get to see AJ's, what is it? Not a kazoo. Just a party
favor.
Favorite. Yeah.
What about your little
Couple
mug?
little ribbons.
You got a little mug there.
I got a mug. My flower's
espresso mug.
My flower
maybe?
is in a mug. Yeah. So if I get sleepy, I have no excuses.
That's true.
There's a mug right there and there's coffee just to my right. It's just laziness at that point. You know, I'm getting old now, guys. So if I start slowing down a little bit, just let me relax. Okay.
I will.
I've been around the sun 29 times now.
Dang, you're 29.
That's a lot of laps around the sun, boys.
It's a lot of sun.
It's a lot of sun.
Hope you got sunscreen.
I could have used more sunscreen last week. We were outside at the Dynamic Discs Open many hours.
You should have hit me up. I had
segue.
some in my pocket the entire week.
I should have.
You know, I'm gingy.
Prepared.
So I burn. So I had some in the pocket.
I should have hit you up for the sunscreen. I should have hit Rick up for the bucket hats. I would have been.
You'd have been golden.
So set. Before we get into the main topic of the show, which will be kind of recapping the Dynamic Discs Open, not last week, but 2 weeks ago on episode Jordan.
Oh,
Eric, you were nominated for our Understable Minds Player of the Week. So you have 2 weeks to choose from. This better be a
so I
banger.
picked 2 players.
Oh,
well, actually,
wow.
I picked 2 individuals.
Okay.
I'm once
Individual
again
of the
going
week.
outside the Player of the Week box and not choosing players.
Okay.
But I don't care. So
It's your week, man.
it's
You make
my
the
week,
rules.
man. I gotta do what I want.
That's how it works.
The two individuals that I chose were Jackie Morris
Okay.
and Keith Krause.
Very nice.
Keith is just a beast of a person. You ask him to do something and he does it.
Twice.
I mean, 3 times.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like, the guy is just an animal. If you guys don't know Keith, he is he's retired and he just kind of likes to help out. Like, I think he used to stamp for us with Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just kind of moved away from it and just started kind of being like the best volunteer of all volunteers.
Right. It's not fair to say he's retired.
Correct. Well, he's retired from his career and now he's moved into just helping Dee Dee because he loves the game. He loves Dynamic Discs. He's just, you guys know Keith. He's just.
Oh, yeah.
He, along with yourself, I think Kevin and maybe a couple other people helped paint all the OBs, put OB flags in. He helped put in all the baskets at the Supreme course.
And
both
take baskets out.
Right. Taking out all the old baskets, putting in Supreme 18 and Supreme Short. Took the Supreme Short out when everybody got into town.
He also helped. I think he picked up Doug every single morning at like 4:00 in the morning and made sure there was water on the course. I mean, just.
I think he was averaging like 18,000 steps a day.
I guarantee
for the past like 2 weeks.
You're right. Now he's taken 2 weeks off to go fish.
Well deserved.
I respect it.
Very well deserved.
I was going to say, and now he's in a cryogenic freezer.
Just like 2 weeks before Worlds, we'll kind of start thawing him out.
Yeah.
Start thawing him out. Say, Keith,
time to roll.
Let's get it moving.
Keith's the man. And then the other one is obviously Jackie, who killed it this year as a TD. I think she's not the only, but one of the only female representatives of an Elite Series event as far as TD goes.
Yeah, I don't think she's the first, but it's a very short
list. And Jackie worked her tail off as well. So, hats off to Jackie and Keith both. Those are my players of the week.
Yeah.
So are they both your players
of the weeks?
Okay.
Perfect.
That's
two.
That's for them.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
Nice.
Jack Keith.
There you go. I like it.
Jack Keith.
Thank you.
Shocking.
I'm out.
Shocking to nobody. That does tie in pretty well with the main topic that we'll be talking about is Dynamic Discs Open.
Yes.
Both of them had, like you talked about, huge impact on that event.
Mm-hmm.
Without either or both of them, this event does not happen the way that it did.
100%.
So I guess first and foremost, we have to attaboy Rick.
Oh, yeah.
Because attaboy Rick.
Attaboy Rick.
Go. I mean, the dude pulled it off.
I mean, it was either going to be Rick or Kristin was my other two.
This crowd is just going crazy.
Potentials, because Rick just absolutely killed it this week. And then Kristin, I mean, just to stay in the game, stay in that battle when Katrina knocked out 6 for 6 to start the tournament, start the final day,
cruising,
and caught her. And I think at one point during that round, Kristin was 2 back.
Mm-hmm.
And
after round 1, she was 8 back.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah,
her and Ricky both jumped from 3rd or 4th card to the lead.
Right. Ricky was, I want to say it was 3.
Yep.
3 back from the lead.
It was a lot tighter
after 1.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kristin I think she shot 6 over, and I think it was
6 under.
Paige Pierce. Yeah, she shot 6 over, 6 under round 1 and 2, and I think Paige shot a 2 down round 1.
Correct.
And Kristin was 8 back.
1 over won the FPO division this week.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And yeah, so I looked it up. Kristin's first round was like 960 something, I think.
Followed up by 1020 or something?
Yeah, 1020 round 2, 990 round 3, and then a 981 round 4. She averaged almost 1,000 rated the last 3 rounds.
Fantastic.
To come from 8 back and win. Bananas.
It's crazy.
Bananas.
Never count her out. And the wind obviously played factor in some of that, just being able to get out there and maintain and not get aggressive. That's what people do not understand about wind who don't play in the wind is you go out there with the same mindset and game plan of, hey, I'm just going to go out there and get aggressive and try to birdie all these holes. That's not what you do in the wind. In the wind, pars are your friend.
Right.
Really, you just want to try to keep it in bounds and throw your most overstable disc, even if you can only throw it 300 feet.
Right.
That's better than throwing it 400 feet OB.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up the out of bounds and how important it was to stay in bounds. Somebody on Reddit, let's see if I can find their name. I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Bill.
Ragdog.
Oh.
Millie.
Dang it.
Not sure if that's close.
Is it username?
Yes. Someone on Reddit went through and they totaled up the OB strokes in the MPO field and the FPO field. I guess I'll have you guys guess. Who do you think had the most OB strokes in the MPO field? Who do you think had the most and who do you think had the least?
The most? Like just name a player is what we're doing?
Right.
Well.
I would think it's someone who made the cut.
AJ should have a very good guess. That's a huge hint, AJ. If you had to guess a player...
AJ Carey?
Who would you guess?
I guess I just said that because you said AJ.
Had the most OB?
If we were on Understable Minds and we had some sort of a segment where you had to guess a player.
Oh.
Who would you guess?
Gibson.
Drew Gibson had the most OB strokes in the MPO field.
Nailed it.
He had 25 OB strokes, finished in 26th place.
25
OB strokes, finished tied for 26th. Tim Barham had the least OB strokes at 9.
Okay.
And
nice, Tim.
Where do you think Tim finished?
I saw him playing Sunday, I think.
You did not see him playing Sunday.
Saturday I saw him playing is when it was.
Yes.
He probably finished
the cut,
62nd place.
He tied for 80th.
Oh.
Missed the cut by a significant margin, but had what is it, 16 fewer OB strokes. Ricky won the event at 15. And then it was similar in the FPO field as well. Maria Oliva had the most at 31. She finished in 23rd place, where Lauren Butler had 8 as the least, and she finished in 30th.
Crazy.
Kristin obviously won the event, and she had 17. So there is...
Now, does all that count for the final round as well?
Right. So, obviously, yeah, they didn't quite break down.
But also final day was like...
Perfect.
Very minimal
wins.
It was
beautiful.
And it was gorgeous day for disc golf. So, I mean, I would imagine there wasn't as many OBs on the final day.
Right. So why do you guys think that is? Why do you think that players like Ricky and Kristin and Drew and Maria can go out of bounds at a higher rate than other players, but still overcome that and still finish, obviously Kristin and Ricky won, where Maria and Drew still placed well in the event. Putting a big factor in that? I'm just asking.
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
Putting, or they went OB close to the basket, way down the fairway.
That's true.
As opposed to...
Yeah, not all OB strokes are the same.
Correct.
Right? If you go OB off of 13 Country Club's tee, you're advancing maybe 100 feet. Mm-hmm. But if you go OB hole 6 at the Country Club, hole 6 at the Country Club, if you go OB, you're probably like 15 feet from the pin.
Looking at a par.
Right. You at least have a par putt.
Correct.
Yeah.
So putting, Tim Barham was 61% Circle 1X.
Okay.
And Drew Gibson, I believe, was 78%.
Okay. That's a significant improvement.
It is. Putting was hard.
Right. I wish there was a way that you could filter out like layups. Mm-hmm. Right. I know if somebody's circle's edge and they just lay it up, that technically counts as a missed putt, but like they're not trying to make that. I wish there was a way that you just could, I don't know, add a layup option or something and see.
It would be tough though, because it's like, were you going for that? Or then the scorer is going to have to be like, hey, Anthony, were you going for that putt or were you laying it up?
Right. You could see players going in after their round and, circle 2 missed. No, I was laying that up. I was laying that one up.
Yeah. I laid all my putts up. I was 100%.
Everybody's 100% from circle 2 because they just, lay up.
Yeah.
I made that. Yeah, I was right.
Nice layup.
Yeah.
Laid up into the band.
I don't know. I think when it comes to OB as well, it's... you can, if you're more aggressive, that's gonna work out sometimes.
Sure.
And so so a Drew Gibson might go OB one hole and then birdie the next hole. And if Tim Barham or a player like Tim Barham is staying in bounds on both of those, but then missing both of those putts, and he still is like 1 over on those 2 holes and Drew's even.
True.
You extrapolate that to 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And then that kind of makes the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they just went OB like 8 times on 1 hole. Like our friend Albert.
That was rough.
Yes.
I thought it was 5.
I don't know. I just said a number.
At that point, if it's more than
does it matter?
2, yeah. Yeah, was that round 2?
That was round 2.
Yeah, hole 16. I walked up as he was, it was like his turn to throw. I walked up and hit one tree, like, bummer. And then hit the same
I think
tree.
it might have been round 1.
I think it was round 1.
It was round 1 because round 2 he shaved
like 10 strokes off that one hole.
Well, not 10. I think he still bogeyed the hole, but
fine.
Yeah.
In those conditions, getting a 5 on that hole is
so that's what, 9?
Good. Yeah.
9 strokes better. Yeah.
Basically shaved 2 holes off of his round.
Yeah.
Good job, Albert. Proud of you, bud.
Crazy. It's nuts. That hole was eating people's lunch.
That whole course. We can get into that course in a minute. Yeah. Yes. But
there he is.
Did he then make the cut after that?
He did not make the cut. I think he finished, he said 56th place or something like that. 52nd.
Hard to come back from that.
Yeah.
I wonder.
That's more than a hog snout.
It's 6 more.
Yes. Well, it's 4 more, but circle 11.
I was thinking 8.
Hog
that's
snout.
A snowman.
Yes.
Hog snout is a circle.
Very familiar with snowmen. Yeah. I wonder what do you guys think the biggest number in UDisc has been? Because I've seen 2 14s.
Like tournaments?
Yeah.
14's got to be.
14's got to be up there, right?
It's definitely up there.
Unintentional, because I know there was the guy at Ledgestone that took a 47 on a hole because he laid up OB on purpose.
Does that really count, though? 'Cause he kept doing it.
Right. Yeah, Albert took a 14 last weekend, and Emerson took one at USDGC of last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I remember he took a big number. 14 is the biggest that I've seen, unfortunately. So what do we think about, obviously, like we said, Ricky won, Kristin won. At this point in the season, those were probably the two favorites for Worlds anyways. I think Kristin has got to be the favorite in FPO. You could throw a couple different names in the hat for the MPO side, but I think at this point you have to say that Ricky's one of them.
Hands down.
With winning the Dynamic Discs Open, I feel like you'd have to say he's probably the odds favorite. Do you think that this adds more pressure to them, or do you think that this almost makes it that much more likely, or gives them that much more confidence, knowing that I just played these courses and I just won them in, we can get into it later, but what is almost guaranteed to be worse conditions?
I mean, it's going to be both.
Yeah.
There's potential for both, for both pressure and confidence. It really just comes down to expectations. And so yeah, I mean, I think, to answer your question, it's yes, both of those things, but one pressure has to do with expectations and the thought of meeting those expectations or failing to meet those expectations. And so, but then the confidence is just, confidence gets deeper and deeper with each example and detail that one gives oneself based in regards to what they're able to accomplish. So I think that's the starting point. And especially for people who want to speculate or criticize or commentate like we're doing now, I think we have to start with that confidence, and we have to tell ourselves, okay, this was Kristin's first Dynamic Discs Open
ever.
Yeah. Was it really?
Yeah, she's never been here before.
Really?
Nope.
I didn't know that.
First time in Emporia.
Jeez.
So yeah, she's one for one.
Never lost in Emporia, Kansas.
Yeah.
On the other side,
but
this
then
is
again,
Ricky's first win
she's
at the Dynamic Discs Open. But he's won Worlds here.
Right.
On different courses, though.
Well,
and the thing,
Country Club was still there. It's a different layout. Different
though.
layout.
So that's
really
that's
different.
Yeah.
And I think objectively, I think Ricky has a very proven track record in the wind. All those Texas State championships,
right?
That tournament is windy.
Yes.
Regardless of where you play it.
Right.
And so I think that is something that is a confidence boost for Rick. And it should be a confidence boost for everybody else that's watching. And then on Kristin's side, I would say that those style of courses where placement is pretty important, as well as distance and as well as managing conditions and managing the course. I think she's got a pretty proven track record in those categories as well. So,
she just got a proven track record on
just her
season.
Yeah.
Too. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's her worst finish of the year? Like third?
If that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I'll look it up, but she's been on a tear.
She absolutely has. So I'm not
sure
what it is.
I mean, and so all that to say that they have a lot to be confident in.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
well, yeah, Kristin is slacking. She has not one but 2 third-place finishes.
Ouch.
She literally hasn't finished off the podium.
That's awesome.
That's insane.
She has as many third-place finishes as transatlantic flights this year. Which, whoa.
Wow.
So I don't know. In terms of pressure, I don't really, I mean, I think, sure, there's pressure on both of them to perform at the World Championships.
I don't think there's added pressure though.
Not any more so than would have already been there. It's still Worlds.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. It's still the World Championships. So
sure.
There's pressure on everybody to come and perform.
Right. When you won yours in 2010, it was at Lemon Lake, right?
It was.
Had you played?
I did.
Tournaments there before? Have you
one tournament there? If you go look, I think it might have been even in that same year or maybe the previous year as a warm up. We played I don't remember if it was a B tier or what it was back then, but it was, I can't remember the name of the event, but it was at Lemon Lake.
Okay.
And I think it was in 2010.
Do you know when it was?
Would have been before Worlds, if that helps. Probably late spring. It could have been it could have been 2009 too. And I remember the only reason we went to the event was because of it being where Worlds was the following year. And I can tell you, I did not win that tournament. I did not win that tournament. So I don't remember how I played. You'd have to do some digging to find it.
Yeah, without knowing the name of the event.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
You could probably, Command F location, but
it doesn't. I'm looking through PDGA right now, and it doesn't show the location, unfortunately. It shows what tier it was, but you played many B tiers that year.
I did.
So,
I played a few. And it might not even have been a B tier. So it's one of those things. I just remember the event. I just remember not playing well at that event. So It's not like I'd love to find the event and find out who won that event, but it wasn't like if I won that event, I had added pressure to go perform at the Worlds that year. Sure.
Yeah.
That's a little different too, because it wasn't like back then, it wasn't like Elite Series events. It was national tours is what we had.
Mm-hmm.
And Worlds was never typically never in a spot where we had
another tour,
another national tour.
Yeah.
And this is the last year that they're doing it. This is the final year. They put in a stipulation of if you're the hosting city of the World Championships, you do not have an Elite Series event moving forward. And the only reason we got it is because technically Worlds was supposed to be in Emporia last year.
Yeah.
And with 2020, there wasn't a world title, so it got pushed a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think some places, like in 2014, didn't they skip Beaver State Fling because Portland was hosting Worlds? Right. That? It wasn't what it typically was.
I went out for it still.
Sure. Any excuse to go play Milo. Yeah.
I think I got second.
So there were
third.
Do you want me to look?
Whatever. No, don't care.
There were a ton of big storylines that came from the weekend. So I wrote down a few of the the ones I see the most chatter about online.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go through those. But if you guys think of anything that we don't cover, please let me know and bring those up. The biggest one obviously has to be Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Possibly because of the wind. But Paul missed the cut for Ulti World posted that it's the first missed cut of his career. The first time ever. So he is washed up. He's done.
Done. Stick a fork in him.
He is, I looked it up. This is his worst finish since the 2019 USDGC, where he came in 64th.
Oh, I remember that.
And his worst finish before that was, it doesn't exist. Yeah, right? Right. Yeah, he just barely missed the top 10, finished in 11th.
Right.
So pat myself on the back, looking pretty good for my prediction that Paul will not win in Emporia this year.
Oh, dang.
50%.
Right.
I'm 50%.
Wow.
I was a little nervous.
I may have him come back just for like a little B tier or something, just
That's
to
what I
prove
was
you
going
wrong.
to say too. Yeah, I think,
I mean, fine. If you're willing to go that far when there's nothing on the line,
right.
Eric.
You're right.
It's fine.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. So what do you guys think about that? Is it just like, do you think the wind just got the better of him? Do you think it was...
I think, yes.
I think it was that.
I think it was exactly that. I think the wind just even the playing field is really what it did. It didn't make anybody shine except Ricky is what it seemed like, and who's just really good in the wind because he throws very overstable discs and throws a disc very, very far and can throw certain angles on backhand and forehand.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest advantage.
100%. Like that dude, just his forehand is it's impressive.
Look at the lead card final round.
Yeah. Hole 3 comes to mind at the Emporia Country Club. He basically threw a hyzer
with a rive
on hole 3.
Orbit rive.
Yeah.
Hyzer the whole way. It's like 460, 470 downhill.
I think so. Something like that.
And he was like in the bullseye.
Yeah. It doesn't quite play that long, but it's
right.
It's quite a bit downhill, but it's still
a massive crush.
Disgusting forehand.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Jake Hebenheimer has a
huge
heck of a forehand as well. Like,
yeah,
it's impressive.
His forehand on 14.
14. Yes.
He like flexed it up the gut.
Yeah.
I don't even know how far that is.
I don't know either, but it was odd to see him throw that forehand that far down the fairway
and then his second
throw
shot,
a spike hyzer.
Yes.
Like, why not throw another forehand?
Right.
Playing away from the out of bounds, and not that he went out of bounds, but he didn't.
Right.
I think he clipped the tree.
Yeah, he tried to go. So hole 14 is the one that plays along the houses. There's the white fence. It's the hole for people listening.
New pin.
Yeah, it's the one where Eagle threw the sidearm in. Simon threw the massive roller the one year.
That's right.
It's that hole, and yeah, Jake threw 3/4 of the way from the tee, and then tried to go up and over the tree that was just short of the old pin, which is
a massive tree.
About 700 feet tall.
Yeah.
And yeah, he clipped the top of it. I like the play because I feel like it shapes better coming into the green, but that tree is just too
But as high as you got to throw that, if you get over that tree and you start to carry, you're finding OB.
Yes. Yeah.
And there goes your par.
Right. Yeah. So Paul, it was funny
for words for Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it was because I don't know if I should say this or not, but I'm going to.
Good.
I was following.
Wait, you can't say that.
I can't?
You could say it.
Okay.
No.
All right. I'm not going to.
You could say that. You could say that.
You could say Anthony ruined it for all you listeners out there.
You could say it.
Let's move on.
Well, wait.
No, Anthony ruined it. Not going to say it now. Okay, it's your birthday.
He had a Twix in his back pocket.
He came up to me during that first round, and he started birdie, birdie, birdie.
Okay.
Right? He birdied the first 3 holes at Jones and said, "I'm here to make your course soft." Is what he told me. I'm like, man, you got 15 holes to go.
It's a good attitude.
It's a great attitude. But then he went on to par, bogey, par, birdie, birdie, par. You know, a little bit of a roller coaster ride there. And then the day 2 was not very kind to him. Not his
day,
unfortunately.
Neither was day 3.
But I thought it was funny that he said that to me, and then kind of things turned around because he was definitely on pace and he had that confidence, and he said this game's easy right now. That was the thing. You know, it's one of those things where sometimes the game is easy and sometimes it's the hardest thing in the world.
Yeah.
So, and I think
round 3
he had a taste of both of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Unfortunately.
That's what, I mean, we talked to him for a minute on Sunday, and that's kind of what he said. He said about the 3rd round, he would throw it like the first few holes, he would throw a disc and it would just do things other than what he knows the disc to do. And if there's one person who has a lot of experience and wisdom with what they're able to accomplish with their flying discs, it's Paul McBeth. So I would trust that when he throws the disc, he has a really detailed image in his mind of what it's going to do. And so when the conditions affect that, whether it's wind, whether it's a squirrel, whether it's the length of the grass around a corner that he can't see, it's like, I'm going to believe what his point of view is. And I'm usually not going to, and usually I know it's not going to be something that's kind of like an excuse. And so, yeah, he was saying that he was going out there. He said something like, I went out there and I thought I was playing disc golf, but it turns out I was playing the wind. Isn't that?
I think that's what he said.
Close to what he said.
Yeah.
So it just, I think that just proves that the wind was the factor. It was the primary factor. And to challenge Paul's statement, it's like, that's part of the game. That's part of disc golf.
It is.
We play an outdoor sport.
And props to Paul for coming out on Sunday and spectating and, not just leaving town and I'm out of here, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, he gave some good constructive criticism on the course. And a lot of it was just being able to visualize the OB, be able to see the OB, not just for the player, but for the spectators as well. So, we've taken that feedback into Worlds, and anything that we need to tweak, we're going to tweak. So having that kind of feedback is very appreciative, as opposed to the other side of feedback where it's just like,
this course is awesome.
This is freaking, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen, like
name calling.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
right. Oh,
like,
yeah. I mean,
give me some positive, not positive feedback. That's not what I want, because constructive criticism is fantastic. Like, hey, this hole sucked because of this, not this is the worst hole I've ever seen in my life. See you later.
Like, I hate when course designers do this. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, well, okay. Yeah. So that's
thanks.
If I was an alien that just landed here on Earth and that was the first thing I heard, well, then that's all I would know about,
exactly
all I would know about your species. So I think that, when it comes to constructive criticism, it's like you want, no matter who you're speaking to, when you give that constructive criticism, it really helps your point. If you are the one giving the constructive criticism, it helps your point to treat the audience that is potentially going to hear your constructive criticism as if they're a class of first graders and you're teaching them algebra. It's
right. You don't want to be condescending.
It resonates better that way.
You have to explain yourself deeply.
Wait a minute. Explain it to me like I'm 5.
Yes.
Right. There's a fine line to walk between that and just being condescending, though. You don't want to do that.
Correct.
But that's not what you're saying, but I don't want someone to misinterpret it as.
For sure.
Yeah. So I guess let's talk about the course SIS. This was the first time that the world had seen the Supreme 18. Mm-hmm. We can talk about that, and then we can talk about the Emporia Country Club and the changes that were made there. Obviously, the Supreme 18 was a complete overhaul. There was Jones East and there was Jones West. And then Eric went through and made the Jones Gold layout of last year, kind of as a safari layout, using existing tee pads, existing basket locations, and tried to make a challenging and championship level course. And I think it was a good course. I think it was great for someone like me. And I think it was good for someone like you or like AJ.
I think it was great for the FPO field as well. Jones Gold. I think that played fantastic for them. Mm-hmm. But
it was many people said it was too easy for the MPO field.
That was the biggest complaint. This course is way too easy. It's too small, et cetera, et cetera. We need more challenge.
Right.
So
that was what you did.
That's what I did.
Right. You went in and basically Eric, with the approval of Jeremy, Dynamic Discs, and then the city of Emporia, basically took Jones Park as a property, a fresh, never before seen,
like a blank canvas, like I would treat any other type of course design, based off what the customer is asking for.
Yeah, and went in and I think did an excellent job of making a difficult championship level course that was it challenges players in ways that Jones Gold didn't.
Correct.
I think my favorite thing about that course is that it forces you to play golf, right? You can't, it's not, people see, it's park style golf and it's 10,700 something feet. It's a bomber course and it's not. Yeah. Distance was not what mattered the most out there. It forces you, like hole 2, you see, what is it, 1180 or something 1080 or something. It's over 1,000 feet.
Par 5.
And you think it's, right, yeah. Par 5, 1,000, I think it was like 1,080 feet. But it's not rip a massive bomb, and you're in circle 2 for your eagle look. Like,
correct.
That doesn't get it. There's kind of OB.
Look at the scoring spread
S
on that.
Shaping through the fairway. You've got water on your right. You've got an OB street on your left. I love what for me is the third shot on that hole. I'll tee off straight, pitch to the corner, and then that third shot down that little tunnel
through the gap.
I love that's like my favorite shot on that course. I love it. So
I know a lot of people were talking about artificial OB as well, but the thing with that course is you have to have it for not just challenging the course, but majority of those OB lines are fairway dividers too,
right?
To keep you from being in someone else's fairway or hitting somebody else, you know, or their roads or their tall grass or whatever the case may be. What we lack in trees, you know, we need to do something. We can't just go out there and have no OB lines and let the players play wherever they want. You know what I mean?
That's what Jones Gold was.
Pretty much.
The OB wasn't very tight.
Pretty much.
There was a lot of airspace. There was a lot of grass. And maybe the holes were a little bit short. It was an 800-foot par 4 or something that's not going to challenge their distance, where, I don't know, I'm sure there's 900-foot, 1,000-foot holes at Supreme that is going to challenge that. So what has been some of the, we'll say, constructive criticism? What has been some of the constructive criticism that you guys have heard about the course?
I haven't heard, honestly, a whole lot from players, with the exception of Paul, on positive or constructive criticism.
I actually heard something very interesting about Paul in that course.
Let's hear it.
I heard that someone here was talking to him, whether they went to Paul or Paul came to this person and asked his opinion. Basically like, hey, a lot of people online have voiced their opinion. What's your opinion? And he said that it was a fantastic course. It's hard. The wind made it, unfortunately, that much harder that it was, birdie was out of the question on some holes immediately, right? Depending on where your tee shot goes, you just have no chance. But yeah, like you said, he started off well and then was struggling. And after 2 rounds at this course, still said, yeah, it's a great course. It's hard.
I think that's what speaks volumes when a player of his caliber can play, I mean, we'll say awful for him.
Relatively speaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
And still compliment the course. I mean, that kind of speaks on the course. Now you had other players that
shows respect.
Yeah. Exactly.
Respect
I think that's
to your
the key.
competition.
Yeah.
From a golfer's sense.
Yeah. And there were players that did not play well, that played awfully for anybody's standards.
Sure.
That still spoke positively about the course.
That's me.
And
I play that course terribly.
And then there were players, I mean, like obviously, Brody Smith gave me props the final day about how he enjoyed the courses. Now he played well. So, I mean, there's that, but then
but there's still just
Austin Hannum, he did not make the cut and he told me he enjoyed the courses and the layout and he didn't blame the courses itself. Obviously it's very, very unfortunate of how windy it was.
Right.
Especially the third day. But I mean, obviously if we could choose, we're going to have day 4 all 4 days. And day 4 of the Dynamic Discs Open, wind wise, is historically more what it'll probably be for Worlds in August. It's not typically that windy in Kansas in August. There's still some wind occasionally, but like
it'll be warmer.
It's more hot.
Right. It'll be warmer and humid.
It'll be scoreable. Just drink water. Bring your water for sure.
Right, where
you're going to need it.
Ricky won at 10 under.
Yep.
Where I bet the winning score in Worlds will probably be in the 20s.
Now there'll be one more round too, but
okay. Then it might be in the low 30s.
And I think it's 3 rounds at the club is I believe what they're doing. I'm not sure if that's set in stone yet.
Sure.
But it definitely had we had the last day all 4 days, I think winner would have been around 24, 25 under par.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that for sure.
I don't really know if I heard any other constructive criticism out there. Nothing that was too like widely popularized. It doesn't really seem like constructive criticism gets a lot of attention nowadays.
Yeah,
and then also I think it's hard to. I wasn't going out there thinking, how could this be better? 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 I was just going out there and like just observing like what was
right
and
what was happening and how it is and how it's played and
how it was all laid out. Yeah. And I think that, I mean, one of the first things was like Jones Supreme, that the layout and how the player traverses around the property and the course, that was kind of, that was pretty impressive to me. It wasn't just like, okay, we're going to go around the course clockwise.
Oh, just a big circle.
It was like, we're going to go here and then we're going to turn here and we're going to go back and then we're going to come back here and then we're going to make a turn here and we're going to turn here and then we're going to turn here. Oh, and it was like, and then perfectly back 18's basket is right next to one's tee pad. So I thought that was pretty cool. I really, there's the map there on the screen. And so I thought that was pretty sweet. And I think and then also what I noticed at the club was the spectator path.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome.
That was really well done. So props again to Doug and to Keith and did you, Eric, have any input?
I helped a little bit with that, but it was more of a Doug, Jackie, brainchild,
cool
type thing.
They did a really good job with that, and I think that is extremely valuable nowadays.
100%. Like the ropes were fantastic. I did take some notes on a couple areas where players will be throwing over the ropes, where I want to push those ropes back just a hair.
Right.
But for the most part, and I know there was a lot of feedback on hole number 4, which was a new hole out at the Emporia Country Club that was unbirdieable, which, I mean, sure, it probably was. At the end of the day, though, I think it plays a fantastic par 4 for the FPOs. Like one of the best holes on the course for FPO.
Yes.
So I think what we're looking at potentially doing is putting in a possible new tee pad for the MPOs where it plays as a par 3, a true par 3. And obviously we're looking at that. It's really hard to look at the numbers on UDisc. And I mean, the last day, sure. But then you've got the top half of the field.
Right.
The players that made the cut and played well. So it's kind of tough to analyze all that and put it together and take it to heart because of how awful the conditions were.
Yes. If the wind is reversed,
yes,
that hole is a par 3. It reminds me a lot of 18 at Waco, where if you have a headwind, it's a par 4. If you have a tailwind, it's a par 3. Right? Like it just depends on if there's no wind, it's what, a 3.3.
Yeah.
Do you round it up or do you round it down? Do you have a soft 4 or do you have a pretty difficult 3?
I don't think it's that big of a deal to have a hole that's a really good par. You know what I mean? If I get a par on this hole, man, I'm happy. You know, like I think true championship level golf, I think having a couple of those mixed in, not every hole now, but having a couple of those holes mixed in on 2 courses for the weekend, I think that's perfectly fine.
I like it.
The interesting thing is it just comes down to the definition of the game. And I think scoring is one of the bigger differences, or it's a field that has a big difference when we think of golf and versus disc golf. I think the sport of golf, I mean, has a longer history, but I think, and their definition of par is much more common.
Agreed.
It's par is more common. Whereas in disc golf, I think there's part of the definition of our sport is that it's easier to score.
Right.
It's easier to score. And so I think that's why people like it so much.
I could see that.
You know, it's like,
you're absolutely right.
It's kind of like, hey, I love playing basketball on a 9-foot hoop. And then you play on a 12-foot hoop and you're like, actually, I'd rather watch basketball right now. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so it's we could kind of say the same thing about disc golf versus ball golf. And then we could even go a little bit into a different tangent and say that, yeah, championship level disc golf is like playing on that 12-foot hoop. It's like, don't expect to dunk unless you've been training for years to dunk.
Yeah, right.
It's like, don't go to a 500-foot par 3 in the woods and expect to birdie unless that's what you've been practicing physically and mentally for years.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of, and I think then that has that kind of mentality kind of shines through when it comes from player to player and their expectations, and then how they voice their own reaction to their own expectations. You know, it's like we see some players face this really challenging course, lots of out of bounds, and then conditions that they know are going to be difficult. But then I don't think anybody was really, I mean, people were practicing and saying, oh yeah, these practice days, the winds, are going to be, they're way less windy than the tournament days.
It was like 10 mile an hour winds on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I doubt half of those people that were making those claims were like, oh, I know that it's going to be above 30 mile an hour winds. And I know what it's like to play in that. And even if they say that, they're like, I know what it's like, based off of the 3 rounds lifetime where it's been that I've played where it's been over 30 miles an hour. It's
right.
So then when you face something like that you're not expecting, it's just going to yield a lot of those reactions that are kind of volatile.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What were you going to say, Eric?
I was just going to say that Saturday's wind day was a little abnormal for here. I mean, it happens. Like, we have days that are like, oh man, it's going to be so windy today, but it's not like, that's not every day. Like it's kind of annoying almost that people just think, oh, Emporia, it's just always going to be windy. Right. Like, it's not, it really isn't, I mean, I even heard Nate Sexton say on Sunday on his announcing that, like, I wouldn't say it's calm, but it's calm for Kansas. You know what I mean? And I felt like it was calm Sunday.
Right. It was like look at up to 10 miles an hour. It wasn't like
the lead card when they were rolling through the whole 16. Like, there was the water was glass.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just unfortunate that Emporia has this rap for always being windy, but it is always, you know, it seems like every year we do have one round that's just like blowing pretty hard, but that's April. You know, I mean, it's unfortunate that is probably the windiest month, but that's kind of where we've had our event and where we've been, hey, you guys are hosting your event in April this year. That's it. You know, I think if the Dynamic Discs Open were to move to, say, June or like right before Ledgestone, something like that, I think conditions would be so much better for the players.
That brings up something that I heard discussed to me and overheard other people discussing a few times throughout the week, was rescheduling the Dynamic Discs Open. A few years ago, it used to be like right at the beginning of the tour, there was kind of
like
Memorial. Right. It was one of the first big stops where now there's Vegas, Memorial, Waco, Texas State. There's all these events. Is that something that, and I genuinely don't know how the scheduling works. Is that something that's possible for 2023 or 2024? Is that a possibility moving forward?
I don't see why not. I know when we first got on the national tour side of things, it was more of, here's your event. Here's the week you're going to host your event. And if you can't do it that week, we'll find somewhere else. That's kind of the way it was. As we're now, and back then, it was a struggle almost to close down the country club, close down the municipal for peak days in traditional golf for people. But now it's a little bit different since we actually pay a premium for those courses to be closed. Like, people don't realize that. It's not like the golf course is just closed.
We just come in and say, hey, do you guys mind if we just,
I mean, we write a check to them every single year for those events to be able to host those events. But when I first started the Glassblown Open, it was in August. Yeah. The reason I ran it in August is because it wasn't windy and I didn't have to worry about rain.
Yeah.
You know, it was always just hot, which I could deal with hot.
When is Worlds this year?
It is in August.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, what's up?
That'll be nice.
And I'm sure, knock on wood, hopefully it's not windy, but we'll probably get a breezy day. But, you know, it's more of a chance to be very scoreable conditions. Like, look at any time that we've hosted Junior Worlds in Emporia.
Yeah, it's been great.
It's been great conditions.
Juniors light up the country club.
They do.
they just
I mean,
we roll out the red carpet for the kids.
Yeah, we do.
These adults, you're a grown up. You've already paid taxes. You know what struggling is like.
Well, some of them. I definitely, I'm all. I'll just say, I'll put it out there that I am all for the Dynamic Discs Open moving to a June, July, August time slot.
Sure,
Doug.
Yeah. So let's see. If we can get him down here, please.
Yeah.
So then I guess let's kind of dive into changes. Like we talked about, there's been feedback on the courses. I'm sure we will both collect and hear more feedback, whether it be on the courses, on a certain hole, on the event as a whole. And we're going to be taking those things into consideration for Worlds. Eric, we're kind of the people's inside man and you're kind of our inside man. Have those changes already been discussed, or is it still in the, all right, everybody brainstorm and collect feedback and then we'll get together on it? Or what's that process like so far?
So far we're still kind of in the, everybody's taking their own notes and then we're going to come together.
We are less than 48 hours from the final putt falling, just for people listening.
Now I have my notes on what I'd like to see, and Doug is taking a much needed vacation.
Right. Well deserved. Very well deserved.
So, when he gets back is when we're going to kind of sit down and dive into it. But it's also pretty limited in time. If you think about everything that we've got to get accomplished before that.
Yeah.
If it's new tee sign, if it's a new course map, caddy books for Worlds. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just, hey, we got 4 months. We're good. You know, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but I have my list of things that I'd like to see. And a lot of it isn't necessarily basket being moved or a new tee pad. There's a handful of those, a couple of those, but a lot of them maybe is more of OB lines, like where we can get wider, where we can get more landing zones. You know I heard a couple people complain, one in particular complain about an OB line by a basket that was 20 feet from the basket. So I'll look at that and potentially make a move to to hopefully push that out to maybe circle one. And I'm okay with cedars being close to baskets, with OB lines being close to baskets, as long as it's not the entire basket. If you have a landing zone, say if there's OB 20 feet right of a pin, but to the left of the pin, you have 180 feet, then I don't know if you have much to complain about on that.
Can I ask about one hole in specific that
Please.
I saw a lot of people complain about? It was hole 10 at the country club. That little forehand through the woods.
The new tee
Logan
bag.
hit a tree. He threw a great shot, hit a tree late, and it dropped straight down and was just barely outside the OB. Do you plan on moving that one, or do you like the challenge there?
The OB line was a little tighter than I ever wanted on that hole, and that was a hole that we put in because we wanted another like kind of woodsy golf type of a hole.
Right. You have to shape a line.
You have to
line
shape a
is
shot.
fantastic.
And I know I heard another player ask about, hey, can we trim up this branch on the left? Because there's no backhand shot there. Well, to me, it's like, well, then learn to how to throw a forehand. It's a 280-foot hole. Like, get out of here with that.
Says Eric McCabe.
I was going to say.
Exactly right.
I'll yell it at them if they want.
Eric McCabe would throw a forehand on that hole. So, boom, roasted. But yeah, to answer your question, that is one hole that I'm looking at. Either keeping the same pin or potentially going back to the old pin and changing the OB line to where right when you come out of that gap, it shoots left over to the fairway. So it make it a little bit more fair, I guess you would say, and not more of a crapshoot. But the entire right side of that fairway was in bounds. The rough, the nastiness on the right, you don't want to be in it.
Right. It's like natural OB.
Exactly right. But yes, I'm in agreement on that. Now, by the basket, the OB was outside the circle because the whiskers were there and the OB line went around the whiskers. Short of that, it was tight.
Yeah.
Tighter than it probably needed to be. So that is absolutely one that is on my list.
So that's obviously one hole. That was one that I had heard a lot of feedback on as well. Do you think, should we expect to see massive changes? Like you said, it's only 4 months. Should we expect to see similar courses with small tweak here, small tweak there? Or is Supreme going to get stretched to 12,000 feet? We're going to move a few pins back. We're going to make hole one's island bigger. Hole two is going to get moved even farther down across the street now, and it's going to be a par 6.
Ooh, dang, I like that. Play 6.
Let's
Play hole 2 to hole 6. Oh wait, that'd be like a par 8.
Which one's 6? Oh my gosh, across the water?
Yeah.
Yikes.
No,
2 water carries on one hole.
yeah, that'd be actually only one that you have to.
One you have to go around.
If you're going for birdie.
If you're going for
If you want the 7.
if you're going for bogey,
Yeah, if you're
you got to go over that water.
If you're trying to gain
going
strokes
for
on
triple.
the field and get a bogey.
I like to play this hole for a 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what about tree branches and limbs? Do you think,
To answer Anthony's question
Yeah.
first, I don't see a whole lot. Like, we're not going to redesign Jones Supreme, like from a hole. Like,
Right.
I do not see it getting longer.
Okay.
I think. I also don't know that I see it getting much shorter. Maybe
Sure.
a couple shorter pins, like on 10 would come to mind for the MPOs.
Which one is 10?
10 is the one that shoots off from the dam and it plays around the corner and then it plays down that sick fairway.
Yes.
We might move that basket up a little bit more. That's the only really one that comes to mind. But like I said, a couple moves here and there, it'll be somewhat the same. The island on one, I would love to see that island get bigger personally.
Yeah.
I would love to see us knock that back wall out and come to a point at the end and then just have this big sick arrowhead right there. I think that'd be nasty, but that would be like a, I don't know, $10,000 job, and I don't know that we can get that accomplished by the World Championship. So I don't think much will change on that hole. I know I've heard a lot of feedback on that.
Really
hole.
quick, I want to stop you about the island on hole 1. I don't think people quite realize the amount of work that, what was the guy's name?
Scott Teichman.
Scott, that he put in on, he built that island. It was
In a week.
right.
I mean,
if people remember that hole from Jones, it was in Jones Gold. It was towards the end of Jones Gold, wasn't it?
I don't know which one you're talking about.
Like where the pin is. It's hole 17. Jones East used to play down there.
Yeah, that was the beginning. That was like hole 3.
Was it? Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, early on in the round of Jones Gold, there's a hill that slopes down, and that was all, I don't want to say open air because it was only a few feet above the ground, but the height of that island. He built all of that out of limestone and whatever the rubber mulch is and everything. Yeah, like you said, in a week.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not in a week is very impressive that he got all that done in a week. Like it was nonstop work.
Yeah.
Is what it was.
Big time.
We had a lot of feedback on that hole. And when we first put the hole in, the initial plan was got to land on the island, you know, and then we saw the island and thought, you know, let's make it fair. Let's give players the option to lay up. And I heard a lot of players wanting to do bunker rule on that hole. And I personally dislike the bunker rule. I mean, I like it for the thought of getting more players to go for the green in one shot, you know? And then if you miss, you potentially could be right there in 20 feet or whatever and have your par. But I don't know. I think I like the idea of there's like a concrete border that goes around it where the two trees on the front are in mulch. I personally would rather call that concrete border the OB line. So the rocks are all in bounds. The mulch on the right is in bounds, and then move the drop zone to like a 40-foot putt.
So just short of the creek, you think?
Well, it would still be the basket side of the creek.
Okay.
Like where it is, but just closer to the wall to where it's like a putt that people go for.
Sure.
As opposed to a 2 or a 4.
Right.
And get more players to want to go for that green, which is what I want. But the scoring spread on hole 1 was amazing if you look at it.
Yeah, it's easy to say from my dumb amateur rated guy, stupid head position.
Wow, is that your title?
It's certified now.
Danny, can you remember
happy
that?
birthday.
Put it up at the bottom.
Yeah, it's easy to say it from where I sit, not having to play that hole in those conditions or with
Correct.
A Pro Tour on the line. But I feel like people were misplaying that hole. So many people I heard say, well, everybody's going for it. I just got to go for it.
Oh, right.
If everybody takes a 4 and I get a 2, I make up 2 strokes. And then they miss. And okay, well, you just cost yourself a stroke now. Yeah, there's some people are going to get it. I think it was like 30% of the field or 30% birdie on that hole. But if you just played it for par, officially, if you just played that hole for par, if you just threw 150 feet, pitched up into the island and made your putt, you would have gained strokes on average on 70% of the field.
Yep. You would have, however, I guess my mindset on that is 2 things. One, I saw a lot of people lay up and go B.
Right.
It is not super easy to lay that shot up, especially in the wind. A lot of people said, hey, am I going to go for this? You know, if it's beautiful, calm conditions, I'm going for it. And if it's windy, I'm laying up.
But then they went
My
for it anyways.
mindset is the other way around. I'm going for this green because it's a 2 or a 4. I'm not worried about gaining or losing strokes on the field, mainly because it's hole number 1. It's hole number 1, and it's hole number 19 of your tournament at the Dynamic Discs Open.
Really? See,
it's early. It's early in the game. It's 1 stroke. I'm not worried about that 1 stroke that early.
Really?
Yeah. If I lay up, I'm bring 5 into play. Or Paul, who I think took a 6 on it. I think he took
a 6 on it, yeah.
You know, late. I'm sure he went for the green, though, because he probably went for it, went for the drop zone, missed a putt. And
I think you're right.
That's probably what happened.
Yeah. See, for me, it's, again, certified dumb guy, amateur, stupid status. Yeah, if I could walk up to a tournament and say hole 1 and hole 19, I immediately get par on those 2 holes, and you're giving me 2 strokes on 70% of my division. Sign me up. I
get that. I 100% understand that, but that layup isn't that easy. It's not that easy of a shot, you know, and that's why we chose to let players lay up, because we went through a few different options of what we could do. The bunker rule came into play, and I've just never been a huge fan of the bunker rule.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about it. I've just never been a fan of it.
Can you have...
Which is, if you don't know what the bunker rule is, you play it from out. Like if you land outside the island, you play it where it lies with a 1-stroke penalty. That's what the bunker rule is.
Can you have that and OB? Like, could you have, say, short of the creek is safe, beyond the creek is
absolutely
bunker, in the creek is OB, and then beyond the island is OB?
You could do whatever you want.
Could you do that?
I mean, I think you'd have to get a waiver, obviously, for some of those rules.
Sure.
Like USDGC does every year.
Right.
And my only concern is to go that that far to where it's causing the last thing you want to do is cause confusion for the players and the spectators.
That was
viewers.
more just a general question.
You can do that. I mean, USDGC does that.
USDGC does a lot.
They do, and there's no ratings at that event, and it's confusing for. I mean, it's one of those things. It seems like every time a player throws OB or in a hazard, they've got to break out the caddy book and see what the rule is on this one hole. I'd rather keep everything simple.
Simple, yeah.
So there's options. I don't know. Hole one, we just need to kind of come together and figure out what we want to do with it.
Sure.
If it's painting, I mean, we could paint an OB line around it to make it a little bit bigger to get players to go for it. But I feel like that's weird too.
It would be weird to have an OB line outside of an island.
Yeah.
That would be odd.
Yeah. The only other thing I could think of is if you painted the line from both sides of the island to the creek, and then short is safe. So you can lay up to there.
Just
but then
lay
you
up
can
across the creek?
the short of the creek still count as inbounds too. So there's a lot that goes into it. And I was happy with how the scoring looked and finalized on hole number one. And I think Steve-O and Harder and those guys out there on hole number one, at least the final day, were taking stats themselves on how many people went for the green, how many people laid up and went OB,
sure,
et cetera, et cetera.
Sure. So that'll all come into the equation. So people can expect to see changes for Worlds.
Yeah.
Maybe not complete 100% overhauls like was done with Jones Gold to Jones Supreme. But
and AJ was asking about limbs being trimmed. 100% we're going to have to do some limbing out there, and not just based off of the way the course played here, but in August we're going to have full foliage everywhere. So all those trees hang a little bit lower. So we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on that and see where we need to trim. And we even Jeremy actually talked about, there's one tree in the middle of the creek on hole one, decent sized tree, but if you knock that tree down, it opens that gap up that much
even more.
So that's also a potential.
Everything is still on the table.
Everything
so far.
Everything except not hosting the 2022 Disc Golf Pro World Championships.
Right. That's kind of already
that's established.
Written in stone.
We're happening. It's happening.
Right. Let's end the show on, I don't know, not that was a negative topic, but obviously we're addressing things that could have gone better and things that will go better at Worlds. But there was some very exciting things that happened. Hole 16 at the Country Club was aced 4 times on the week. 4 times. I believe, I'm probably going to butcher this, but I believe it's Blair Orn.
Okay.
I think he's from Norway. Aced it in practice.
Yes, he did.
Matt Bell hit it for just a casual 25 grand. Super small payout.
Sweet.
25K just in his pocket.
Thanks to Eric.
Yes. Early recognition is critical. Correct. Not McCabe.
Yes, correct.
Jeremy Colling got it during round 3. During Chloe Alice got it.
And go ahead.
Chloe Alice hit it round 4. Jerm got it sidearm. Chloe got it backhand. Yep. So we saw all different types of aces on that whole windy condition.
It was so cool too. Like, I mean, it's the first year the FPOs have played it from that tee. 1, that's really cool to see Chloe hit it. 2, it was cool for Big Germ to hit it because
he was stoked.
That's like he said it's one of his favorite aces of all time. And he's always the bridesmaid?
The bridesmaid, yeah.
So, and that was really cool to see that happen for Big Germ. And it happened during the windiest round, and he shot a 3 under that round.
And he was the only one under par for the round.
Killed it. And then Matt Bell, obviously the 25K. So that's like 3 of the 4 aces were just like, man, that's sick.
Right.
On that hole. Like, if there's one hole you want to ace, it's probably hole number 16 at the Emporia Country Club. On all the holes. I mean, of the par 3s.
I was going to say hole 2 Supreme would be kind of cool.
I mean, impossible, but cool.
Hole 1 Country Club would be pretty sweet.
But am I right?
Yeah.
Like that's the one hole, the par 3 that you're.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's so cool.
That and Supreme 13. That would be
that would be pretty sick
second.
too.
I haven't been paying attention. The AE in Norwegian is apparently pronounced like the A in the English word cat.
Blar.
So Blar. And is it?
I think he's from Iceland.
Is it Iceland?
Is it different in Icelandic? I'll check. Hang
Completely.
I heard someone introduce him as Blair, but that could just be because it's spelled that way and
Blar.
That person, I don't know, just assumed. It's entirely possible. While Danny is looking that up.
So sick.
It's pronounced like an uppercase I, sounding like the ye in the word buy. So it's Blair?
Blair?
Okay.
Blair. That sounds more Icelandic. If we're going just off
Blair Orn?
Blair.
I'm sure I'm butchering the last
Blair?
names. We might be butchering the entire thing, but congratulations to him as well.
Yes, 100%.
But we are saying Orn right because it's supposed to be the O like ought. So it'd be Arn. Blair Arn.
Blair Arn. Okay.
That sounds like a southern accent.
Congratulations,
Blair Arn.
Blair Arn.
Blah, 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 blah. Sick ace, bro.
All right.
Oh, no.
It was dirty. It was nasty.
It was
Props to all four of
very
them.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah. One very exciting thing, there were both on the MPO side and the FPO side, there were a ton of
OBs?
there was a lot of OBs, but there were new and maybe unfamiliar names at the top.
Yes.
I mean, Simon came in second. Everybody knows him, which another thing, Simon's freaking back. That's just good for the game of disc golf.
100%.
But yeah, third place, Brody Smith had the best finish of his career. Our own Logan Harpool, best finish of his career. There were people on the FPO side, like Madison Walker finished in 8th. And I think that's her first, or not first, but her best finish in a while.
Could be, yeah.
There were,
especially on those big courses too. She's not really known as a big arm player.
Right.
So
Emily Beach, I believe she tied for third with Ella Hansen.
Yep.
Probably the best finish of both of their years.
Ella,
if not longer.
I think
she was up there in Vegas. Was it?
She was, but she also was close to podium finishing at a U.S. women's event either last year or the day before. Well, that's what I'm saying. It could have been a podium because she was on the feature or the lead card all week, and that's the first time I saw her play.
Okay.
And I don't remember.
I guess she did just get third at Jonesboro as well.
Okay. If it was last year or the year before, it was U.S. women's. It was when it was in, I think, California, maybe.
Yeah, that was last year.
Was it last year? Was it Ella?
Ella got third at U.S. women's last year.
Okay, so that's third at a major. So, but still.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Aaron Gossage, Jake Hebenheimer.
Aaron,
all of them
full on smashes.
They all
seen him throw?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's incredible.
Everybody does now. Like watching him throw hole number 1 on Sunday, I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, nice. Yeah, good shot. Would be like
that's the best shot I would have ever thrown.
Oh,
that's also the best shot I would have ever thrown.
It's just
that's also the best shot I would have ever thrown.
I love to see. And hole 1 that was one of the holes that we kind of shrinked up a little bit.
And
the
that
left
hole
side
wasn't easy before.
No,
and it was brought in 10 feet,
probably closer to 15.
Yeah.
Because the rough on the left is all out of bounds now for spectating, but there's still plenty of room on the right, but it still kind of slopes down that way. So every shot tends to funnel that way. But those people throw far now.
It's crazy.
Throw very far. It's pretty cool.
Very, very crazy. Yeah. And the only other thing that I had, I don't know if you guys thought of anything, but was just Simon. Like that's. If there's anyone out there that is just across the board good for the game of disc golf, it's Simon. Yeah. Find me someone that has a bad thing to say about him or says, I don't like watching that guy.
Yeah.
Like that person sucks.
Yeah.
That person,
probably an ex-girlfriend or something I could find that like
that person just doesn't exist or
no, you're right.
They're just mad at
Simon's awesome.
Simon is awesome.
Great for the sport.
Yeah. 100%.
He just plays for the crowd. I love it.
Yeah,
it's good.
But to do that and
finish second, like he was having a killer last round, and I don't know that he was putting a little heat on Ricky or not, but he was definitely there. Like you know he was there. You know what I mean? So I think the wind went out of his sails, so to speak, on hole 16 because I think he ended up bogey in hole 16.
He bogeyed 16 and 17.
Okay. That's right. Back-to-back bogeys on those 2 holes. But
Simon was putting a little bit of a move on Ricky, and then Logan was kind of also there.
He was there.
Just to keep Ricky on his toes, basically.
Absolutely.
Ricky was
I'll tell you
I'm not going to say coasting.
Logan made a name for himself this week.
100%.
Dude putted unreal that last round. Some of those big putts he was hitting on those elevated baskets was like, yes, dude.
Yeah.
Let's go. Like he has a sneaky forehand, silky smooth backhand, and his putt is phenomenal. It's so much fun to watch. I've known Logan for a while now. Was it 2 years ago? He won 2 years ago, he won the Oklahoma Open.
Mm-hmm.
Props to him on that. Was his first big win.
He's won Monkey Island before.
Yep. He's won a lot of events around the regional, around the state. And he's a high school teacher. So like he gets his summers off and hits the road. So you'll be seeing his name out there a little bit more this summer. He's going out to Portland, and obviously he'll be playing the World Championships as well.
Yeah. It was funny. I was following him for a little bit during round 3. It was like halfway through the round, we'll call it. And
whole 10?
Ish.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. Last year he played and did not play well, missed the cut.
Yep.
And so he said, coming into it this year, his goal was to make the cut. I just want to play on Sunday.
He did.
Halfway through round 3, he was like, bro, like I could win.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm pretty well made the cut at this point. He was right at that point in the round. I think he was, I don't know, he was on the podium, right? Top 3, might've been in second place. And he was like, I could win this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then to go out there on Sunday in front of the crowd with the live cameras, with the Jomez cameras, with all the local media cameras, with our cameras, with I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of people were watching, to then put on the performance that he did and finish in third place is incredible. Yeah,
super stoked for Logan. And I mean, we got to say something about Brody too, who had a roller coaster of a round. That final round, like there was a lot of red on his scorecard, but he was able to manage and fight back. And I think, did he birdie his last 3 holes?
4. He birdied the last 4.
Birdied the last 4 holes. To get a share of that podium. And
I was walking that round with them for most of the round.
I walked their entire round.
Never. I mean, talk about a roller coaster. In the biggest moment of his so far relatively short disc golf career. Never once did he seem flustered, annoyed, aggravated, nervous, nothing. It was just like, hey man, like I need to be better. I threw a bad shot. I got punished for it. Like on to the next one.
And I earned a lot of respect for him, a lot more respect for him than I ever had. After watching the final round, I think it was, of Jomez. They put out, they did a little
intro
piece on him, a little intro on him.
Really
and
cool.
Just hearing him talk about what he's doing in disc golf and the how he was trying to play golf and that just kind of didn't pan out. He got really good at golf. Dude's just an athlete,
Right.
And he loves the sport. He really does love disc golf.
Right. Anyone who, like when Brody first came over, I'll admit, if you had asked me when Brody first switched, hey, do you think he's ever going to win a pro tour podium?
Absolutely not.
I would have said no.
Yeah.
But like the dude is a professional athlete. Like some people just have that athletic gene. He's got it.
Yes.
Right. Like he's, I don't know how old he is. He's in his 30s, I think, late 30s, maybe.
Yeah. Mid 30s for sure.
Not peak physical performance for the average human being. He's not an average human being. He is a giant person.
He's huge.
Professional athlete. Like, the dude can bomb.
Yeah.
He's putting in the work. He's, like you said, he's here for the right reasons. He's playing.
He threw Frisbees before he hit golf balls too.
Yes, he did.
Right.
And probably better than just, he was one of the top 3 ultimate players as well.
Yeah.
College and then in the club level.
Yeah.
So, So there's that too, which, please don't bring that up.
You got something against Gators?
Yeah.
Hook 'em horns. We got a little college rivalry going on.
What's going on?
I'll just say go Knowles.
Oh.
But there's something about
Cyclone 'em Canes.
Gosh.
I'm not familiar.
I get
Sore
it.
subject.
I apologize. I understand that 100%. It was really hard for me to congratulate Mizzou for winning the collegiate disc golf,
Yes. You almost, just sweep it under the table.
Yeah.
Rug. Yeah. But man, dude can throw the Frisbee and just like Paul, he knows where it's going. He knows what it's doing. Those trick shot videos for years didn't get 100 million views just because he closed his eyes and
made a shot.
He tried real hard.
Right.
No, it's like
anybody who didn't think that he was going to work at this just wasn't paying attention to Brody Smith's career before disc golf. Like,
correct.
If there's anything that guy does he puts in freaking work.
So yeah.
So
Congrats.
yeah. Congrats to him. Congrats to Logan. Congrats to Jake and everybody else that had.
And obviously Rick.
Also, obviously,
Go, Rick. What up, Rick?
And Kristin.
Bucket hat Rick.
Yeah, bucket hat.
Right.
1 for 1.
Man.
I was
Retire
talking-
it. Sign it. Sell it. He should have signed it and thrown it into the crowd.
Absolutely not. That thing needs to go in the Hall of Fame.
that thing needs to go in the wash and then the Hall of Fame.
There you go.
I was-
probably accurate.
I was talking to Ari as we were walking to, like, they threw their tee shots, and I was like, so Ari, was that, for people that don't know, Ari is Ricky's manager.
Mhm.
I was like, Ari, was that your idea? She looked at me dead in the eyes and she goes, Anthony, I told him to take that thing off 30 times.
Dude, I'll tell you what kind of like,
oh my
it was a moment that
gosh.
I had during that, like right before the final round, because I was there for the like last 5 or 6 cards teeing off, and then I'm just sitting there by the RV with, I think both of you were there next to me
Waiting for Rick.
waiting
Yeah,
for
we were
Rick
all
because
holding
everybody
hands.
else was there.
Yeah.
You know,
Did you say we were all holding
that's
hands?
what he said. But anyway, Jake was there, Logan was there, Brody was there, and we're all like, you know, where's Rick? Everyone's looking around, and then you hear the crowd just start cheering, and then you look down. He's walking up
the
hole 1 fairway in the middle of the fairway, and it was like a movie.
Yeah.
Watching him walk, like there was a glow around him, and everyone's just like, "Oh my god, what is he wearing?" And if you didn't know, they had little raptors all over it and matched his shirt.
Yes.
Like, dude, that moment is something that is etched in my brain, and I will
Hilarious.
remember for a very long time.
So good.
Epic.
I
Yeah.
filmed that moment.
Oh,
Good.
I have a clip of it.
I can't wait for June 1st to see it.
What do you mean? I'll cut it in for the video people. I'll cut it in for them so they can
People
watch
will
that.
understand what I'm talking about on June 1st. So,
Hilarious. So yeah.
fantastic.
Congratulations to Ricky and Kristin, especially, but everyone that had great finishes. We are more than excited to see everybody back here in August for the World Championships. But everybody watching and listening, we will see you much before then. We will see you next week for episode 25 of Understable Minds.
Open your card.
Is there actually a card in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to open
It's
it?
just a letter, you
Please.
think, or what?
I didn't know.
Yeah, get it. Come
Please,
on.
yeah.
Hold
Open.
on.
Open.
We'll be here still.
Yeah,
Open
it's,
and read it. Read everything that you read, that you seize.
Everything that I see.
Yeah.
It says happy birthday, Anthony, on the
Eric, there's a lot of bad words on here.
I know. I want to hear them.
It says the best things in life aren't things. Oh my God. Okay. First of all, it's signed by like the entire staff here, so I'm not going to read everything that's
Just
in
read a couple of them.
It is your birthday,
It is your birthday.
Shane.
Oh, well, that's, yeah.
Tony says happy birthday. Doug says happy Vanden birthday.
That's not surprising.
There you go, Doug.
Jeremy just says you are old.
Oh,
Thanks, Jeremy.
yeah.
Eric said you really did it. Thanks. I did, man.
You really did it,
That
man.
was me.
Proud of you.
I did it, man. That was nice. That was me. I really did it.
Anthony is old.
Yeah, old dumb guy, amateur,
Stupid, something
stupid.
in there, I think
So-
you
yeah,
said.
my brain's going. My
did it?
memory
That's
is
'cause you're
shot.
old.
Anthony is old dumb guy.
Oh,
Andrew,
man.
Stupid head. Also, he did it.
Perfect.
Oh
I
man.
like that he could see it as he's
Yeah,
typing.
yeah. Probably OB.
Oh, fantastic. Love it.
Oh, well, thank you guys.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for watching and or listening. If you were listening to this one, you kind of missed out there at the end.
You did.
But we will we'll give you a chance to watch next week for episode 25. No birthdays, unfortunately.
No, not next.
Maybe 26.
Yeah.
We'll see you.